Did you know that certain foods can actually become harmful if you store them in the refrigerator? It might sound unbelievable, but keeping some items cold can make them unsafe to eat. Most of us were raised to believe the fridge was the best place to keep everything fresh, but the truth is, there are a few exceptions that can impact your health. In this video, we'll explore 7 common foods that can turn risky or even toxic when refrigerated. Some of these might already be sitting in your kitchen, and understanding how cold temperatures affect them could make a meaningful difference to your health and that of your loved ones. From subtle texture changes to serious chemical reactions, these everyday foods deserve a second thought before you toss them in the fridge. Stay with me until the end, and I'll walk you through each one, explain why it happens, and share simple tips to help you avoid common storage mistakes. By the time we finish, you'll know how to make smarter choices in your kitchen and keep yourself and your family safer. Let's begin. First up, potatoes can become harmful when exposed to cold. One of the most unexpected foods that shouldn't be refrigerated is the simple potato. Many people believe putting them in the fridge helps them stay fresh, but low temperatures actually cause the starches inside potatoes to convert into sugars much faster than normal. This not only changes the flavor, making them oddly sweet, but also triggers a chemical reaction that can make them harmful when cooked. When those cold potatoes are later baked, roasted, or fried, the sugars react with amino acids and create acrylamide, a compound linked to nerve issues and, in larger amounts, even cancer risk. For older adults, who may already have sensitive digestion or chronic health conditions, it's best to steer clear of anything that could increase that risk. Potatoes also lose their firm texture after refrigeration, becoming gritty or mushy, which can ruin your favorite recipes. Think about Bill, age 77, who loved making homemade hash browns every Sunday. He used to keep his potatoes in the fridge, assuming it helped them last. But over time, he noticed they browned unevenly and tasted unusually sweet. Once Bill learned to store his potatoes in a cool, dark cabinet instead, he noticed an immediate improvement in both taste and texture and gained peace of mind knowing he was doing something healthier. So, if your potatoes are in the fridge, move them to a paper bag or basket in a dark cupboard. They'll last just as long and be much safer to eat. Simple adjustments like this can make a real difference in your day-to-day routine. Next, onions are another food that doesn't belong in the refrigerator. Many people think refrigerating onions keeps them from spoiling or sprouting, but in reality, cold and damp conditions break down their natural structure. Within days, onions stored in the fridge become soft, soggy, and lose their bold flavor. The layers that should be crisp and firm turn mushy, and you lose that satisfying crunch when you slice into them. Worse, the fridge causes natural onion sugars to leak to the surface, creating moisture that encourages mold and bacteria growth, especially if the onion skin has even a tiny bruise. Seniors often find black or green mold inside onions kept too long in the fridge. Even if the outside still looks fine, eating moldy onions can upset your stomach or even cause foodborne illness. Consider Patricia, 81, who always kept leftover onions wrapped in plastic in her fridge. She noticed they started spoiling faster and smelled off, even when they looked normal. When she switched to storing them in a mesh bag in her pantry, they lasted longer and added better flavor to her soups and stews. She also felt more confident knowing her food was fresh and safe. Garlic is another kitchen staple that shouldn't go in the fridge. Many people refrigerate it to keep it fresh, but cold, humid conditions actually make garlic sprout faster. Within days, green shoots start growing, draining away its signature sharp flavor and leaving the cloves rubbery. Sprouted garlic tastes bitter, and the refrigerator's moisture encourages mold between the layers of skin. Moldy garlic can make you sick, even if the outside looks fine. Samuel, age 75, used to keep his garlic bulbs in the fridge. Before long, they started sprouting and developing a musty odor. After learning to store them in a basket at room temperature, he noticed his garlic stayed fresh for weeks, kept its strong aroma, and tasted better in his dishes. The lesson: store garlic in a cool, dry place with good air circulation, and it will stay flavorful without risk of spoilage or waste. Bread is another common item people refrigerate to make it last, but that's actually counterproductive. The cold makes the starch in bread crystallize faster, causing it to go stale and dry within a day or two. Even when sealed, the fridge's moisture also promotes mold growth, especially in homemade bread without preservatives. Many seniors trying to save money by storing bread in the fridge are disappointed when their loaves turn hard or moldy before they can finish them. Take Jean, 84, who used to refrigerate her bread weekly. She noticed it went from soft to crumbly almost overnight and even grew mold by midweek. After she started keeping bread in a bread box or paper bag on the counter and freezing the extra, it stayed fresh much longer. Her sandwiches tasted better, and she wasted less food. To keep your bread fresh, store it at room temperature and freeze what you won't eat within a few days. Tomatoes are another food that should never be refrigerated. Cold air ruins their flavor and texture, making them mealy and bland. The ripening process stops in the fridge, so tomatoes that were once juicy and rich lose their natural sweetness. The cold damages their cell walls, leaving them watery and mushy instead of firm and delicious. For seniors who love homegrown tomatoes, this change can be disappointing. Marilyn, 79, once kept her garden tomatoes in the fridge to make them last, but she soon realized they lost their bright flavor. Once she stored them on the counter, they stayed vibrant and tasty much longer, reminding her of the juicy tomatoes from her childhood. Keep tomatoes at room temperature, away from sunlight, until ripe. If you can't use them all, freeze or share them, but avoid the fridge if you want to preserve their full flavor. Honey is another product that suffers in the refrigerator. When it's chilled, honey quickly crystallizes and becomes thick and gritty, making it hard to pour or spread. While it's still edible, it loses the smooth texture most people love. Cold temperatures also dull honey's flavor and weaken its natural healing properties. Raw honey contains beneficial enzymes and antioxidants that can be damaged by cold. For seniors who use honey to soothe sore throats or wounds, this loss of potency is a big drawback. Larry, 82, used to keep his honey jar in the fridge, thinking it would last longer, but soon it turned grainy and hard to use. When he switched to keeping it sealed in a dry cupboard, it stayed smooth, flavorful, and retained all its natural benefits. To keep your honey perfect, store it tightly sealed at room temperature. Finally, melons such as watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew are often stored in the fridge, but that's not always the best idea. Whole melons actually lose flavor, aroma, and nutrients when kept cold. Studies show that room temperature melons retain more antioxidants and vitamins like beta-carotene and vitamin C. Once a melon is cut, it should be refrigerated for safety, but whole melons should stay at room temperature until then. Cold storage can make them mealy, sour, or less sweet. Frank, 80, used to keep his whole watermelons in the fridge and noticed they tasted bland. Once he began storing them on the counter and chilling only the slices, the difference was immediate. The flavor came back, the texture was better, and eating fruit became a joy again. As you can see, many foods we instinctively refrigerate actually lose quality or worse, can become unsafe when kept too cold. Protecting your health isn't just about choosing nutritious foods, but also storing them correctly. Small changes like keeping potatoes in a dark cabinet, onions in a pantry, or honey on a shelf can make a big impact on your health, your wallet, and your peace of mind. Simple, thoughtful habits help seniors stay strong, independent, and confident in their kitchens every day. Thank you so much for watching. We'd love to hear from you. Share one thing you learned today and how you'll apply it in your daily life. Your comments inspire us to keep creating meaningful content for you. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it. Your support helps us keep producing valuable content to educate and inspire others. Thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.